Back here on CBS Sports HQ, Selection Sunday special. Hakeem Dermish, Matt Norlander, Tim Doyle, Joe Musso with you as we begin in the South region with the #1 overall seed, Alabama. And look, you're going to get coverage you're not going to get anywhere else. We're giving you picks for your bracket. We're also giving you picks against the spread. And we are going to start with one of the first 4 games here in the South. Texas A&M Corpus Christi, the Islanders out of the Southland Conference against Southeast Missouri State out of the Ohio Valley. And, Matt, look, these play-in games in Dayton, not a lot of people know about these teams. Who's going to win this game?
Texas A&M Corpus Christi is probably going to win the game. It's coached by a guy named Steve Lutz, who, former Purdue assistant, was actually the first. He was the guy who discovered Zach Edey, or at least got Purdue involved in Zach Edey. Got the Islanders in the NCAA Tournament for a 2nd straight season. Shouts to Brad Korn. We love coaches with great names. Certainly doesn't look like a Korn fan. He might be your most well-dressed coach in the entire tournament. I will go with the Islanders. Corpus Christi winning this one.
I don't really know much about these two teams.
Can I give you this?
I used to be the voice of the Ohio Valley.
I know you did. So let me give you this nugget, okay? Southeast Missouri State, 7-0 against the spread in the month of March under Brad Korn. You're getting points with the Red Hawks. 8-0? Okay, all right, there you go.
SEMO, okay, I'll take the points in this game, yeah.
Okay.
Let's bump our enrollment here and get to that 9-8 matchup, Maryland and West Virginia. Maybe we could dive a little deeper on this one. One going to separate them in both the seeding and at the wagering window. West Virginia sort of let go of the rope in the conference tourney against Kansas. You know, Maryland could be stingy defensively, maybe inconsistent offensively. When you look at that one, TD, it makes it pretty simple for us. Where are you going?
Well, West Virginia had a losing record in conference, right? But best conference in the country. I just love the fact, Matt, they were great at home earlier in the conference season, and then on the road, not so much. They started to come around on the road. They started believing in itself. Offensively, everything runs through Eric Stevenson. They just run him off a screen after screen after screen. Offensively, you get them in a half court. They can be, struggle to score at times, but they're physical. They're tough. Maryland could easily win this game. Which Maryland team is going to show up? And that seems to be a consistent theme for a lot of the teams in the Big Ten. Which team is going to show up? Is it going to be the team that can beat anybody at any given night, or a team that can lose to anybody at any given night? I think West Virginia is tougher. I like the Mountaineers here.
Yeah, you could get a very fun Stevenson, Jameer Young, kind of trading buckets late. This game has really good potential to be close, but I'm going to pick the team that's rated higher in predicted metrics. That's West Virginia. The team that has played in the better conference, that's West Virginia. And the team that, objectively right now has the better coach. Bob Huggins is in the Hall of Fame, so that's West Virginia. I will go West Virginia. And in an annual tradition, the very first 8-9 game I pick is doomed to be wrong. Have at it. Go ahead and take Maryland.
All right, 12-5 matchup. A 12 seed has won a game in 32 out of the 37 seasons since 1985. Yeah. So here you got San Diego State laying 4.5. Charleston, perhaps maybe a trendy 12 seed. I will tell you that the under is hitting 8 straight games with San Diego State. We don't have the total yet right now, but maybe that's the play, Tim, on a total when that comes out. When you look at San Diego State and Charleston, would you lay the points with the Aztecs?
I like San Diego State to win this game. I repeat, I love San Diego State to win this game. I just don't love laying points with them. Offensively, they can be challenged at times. They look to Matt Bradley often, who scored over 2,000 points, but he's been in college since 1986. So 2,000 points comes with a little bit of an asterisk. But defensively, they've seen Charleston before. It's called Utah State. Spread you out, shoot the three, great team. And what does San Diego State do? They ring out Utah State. Now, I would not lay points in this game, but Pat Kelsey's done a great job at Charleston. You cannot simulate what Brian Dutcher's team does defensively. I'm going to bet San Diego State here on the money line. I would not lay points, but they are going to win this game.
I'm looking at this bracket here, and all these 12/5s feel trendy. But I do think you're going to see Charleston be the most popular 12/5 pick. Now, some of that's going to be the Mountain West struggling. Some of it's going to be the fact that Charleston has been receiving attention and good pub for 3+ months. And some of it's going to be people are going to look at these teams. They're going to look at a record, and they're going to say, why not? 12 beats a 5 every year. I'll go with San Diego State in this spot. More experience in the tournament, more physical. Darian Trammell is a point guard you need to know who plays for San Diego State. Really, really good player. And then they've obviously got Matt Bradley. Dutcher knows what he's doing there. Lamont Butler is also fantastic. This game has such incredible potential. I will go San Diego State, but I will be surprised. I will be surprised if this game is more than a 2-possession ball game with under 3 minutes to go.
All right, so our guys picking up what Vegas is putting down there at the 4.5. Let's go 4-13 here. Virginia Furman. We touched on this game a little bit earlier in the show. Furman, a program record for wins this season with 27. Virginia, a 6.5-point favorites. And anytime we're talking about points with the Cavs, it's a little bit scary because they don't score a whole lot of them. TD, 6.5. Gut feel for me is stay away or wait for that total. What are you doing with 6.5?
Yeah, I mean, if you watch Virginia in the ACC championship game, oh boy, ugly 17 points in the first half against Duke. Now, Furman's not Duke, but they have 4 guys that average in double figures. They got big-time guards. I don't think they're going to be intimidated by this moment. Is Virginia the better team? Yes, but I'm not laying 6.5. I'm going to take the dog here. I'm going to take Furman.
Virginia is not vintage Virginia here. Defensively, it's top 25. Furman's the best 2-point shooting team in the country, 59.1%. Keep that in mind. Also, Mike Bothwell, Jalen Slauson, real dudes for Furman.
Too many
I'm going to take I'm going straight up. I'm picking the game. Yeah, I'm worried about the bracket. Okay, you worry about the spread. I will
Matt Norlander picking them straight up. Tim Doyle always taking the points into consideration.
Just say it's going to be a close game.
It's going to be a close game. I will take Virginia reluctantly in this one. I have the right to change my mind.
All right.
Okay. All right.
Not in Penn just yet.
This game feels like, to me, the easiest game on the board, 11-6 here. Creighton and NC State. Creighton. Move on, Creighton. Move on. I don't like NC State. You could have said they were among the first 4. I said, okay, yeah, I get it. Yep. But they're an 11 seed.
What number would you expect to see blind in that matchup?
5.5.
Okay, well, you're right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
it's there on the screen.
Yeah, that's about right. And I also had a sheet they handed me. I think it said 5.5. No, Creighton was ranked inside the top 10. Offensively, they're really good. They brought in Baylor Shireman from South Dakota State, the lefty. Kalkbrenner down low is at 7 foot. When he's on the court, they're a different team. Kaluma, they have pieces that if they come to an Elite 8 run, that would not surprise me. Defensively, rebounding, still a huge question marks at the time. Offensively, a really talented team. I would not lay points. I'd bet them on the money line. I think Creighton wins this game.
Creighton, by the way, 8-1 against the spread in their past 9 games in March. So I'm going to lay the points with Creighton, and I'm picking Creighton to move on. So I'm laying the points, and I'm moving Creighton on. This is. I mean, I like Creighton.
Creighton might have a top 5 to 7 starting 5. They're not deep. Ryan Kalkbrenner in the middle. Kalkbrenner versus DJ Burns. Those are 2 very, very different bigs. Creighton to move on. But sometimes when I hear this, and I know this is going to be a common thing, Creighton is going to be an automatic for a lot of people. Sometimes that makes me go, wait a second, what are we missing?
Yeah, groupthink.
Groupthink will get you every time, but I can't not pick Creighton in this spot. Preseason top 10 team, and it is good enough to make a deep run in the bracket.
All right, let's bring the minds together on this one. And this is where we get real uncomfy. Laying double-digit wood in March. Baylor 11-point favorites against UC Santa Barbara. Makes it easy for the purposes of Matt Norlander picking it straight up here when we look at that.
I will, and I'm going to be quick on this. I'm going to take Baylor. Defensively, Baylor has issues, and getting to a Final Four is actually going to be a challenge because Baylor is bizarrely unreliable on defense, and I mean bizarrely. Baylor right now, nationally, this is not the team that we have been used to seeing in the past few years that has been high end defensively. Outside the top 100 in points per possession allowed, adjusted at KenPom. That being said, I got him when I'm here. Baylor's got one of the best 3-guard attacks in the country. Keontae George going to be a lottery pick, and then you've got LJ Cryer and Adam Flagler. I mean, these guys are combining to drop more than 45 a game. Santa Barbara does not have the firepower to match that. Baylor moves on.
Baylor wins. I would not lay points with 11? Baylor just because. What's that?
11. I
like Baylor in the tournament guard play. Guys that have been around the block, experience, culture. They have a lot of recipes, but UCSB plays slow. Baylor comes in not playing their best basketball. This could be one of those games that Baylor wins by 7 and they move on. So this just seems like too many points. I would take the dog here.
Baylor's going to go into one of my 17-team parlays. That's what we're with.
16 teams will come through.
Yeah, all coming up short all the time. Yeah, you got to remind me of that Iowa beat. I lost
20
Ohio
and
State.
21.
20 and 21.
Another conversation.
Nobody cares.
I know you do.
I do. I care.
Thanks.
Okay.
You know what else I care about? I care about this next matchup. Missouri. My guy Dennis Gates from Cleveland State leading the Tigers to the NCAA Tournament in his first season. Utah State, a 2-point favorite here. Does that surprise you that Utah State's a 2-point favorite?
No.
Your thoughts? Okay.
They're telling you who's going to win this game.
Yes.
Utah State. Here's the difference. Missouri relies on their defense. They turned over Alabama 17 times, turned over Tennessee 14 times. You know who's not going to turn the ball over? Utah State. You know why? Ball fakes, eyebrow fakes. They take great care of the basketball. They have great team chemistry. Stephen Ashworth is a mini Steve Nash on the floor. Funk can spread the floor. Shulga, they have basketball players, so they're not going to be rattled by the pressure of Missouri. Offensively, Ryan Odom's did a great job getting a team that could shoot as well as anybody in college basketball. This is a bad matchup. Utah State does not match up well against great rebounding teams. Missouri's not a great rebounding team, so this is all Utah State.
Who was the last team in the Mountain West Conference to win a game in the NCAA Tournament?
Who?
Yeah, who was it? Nevada?
Nevada? With the Martins?
2018.
Oh, man.
Went to the Sweet 16. So
2018 was like 7 years ago, right?
Yeah.
With everything that's been going on.
Yeah, they went 0-4 last year. Who are you taking? Because I like Missouri. He likes Utah State.
I will go Missouri in this spot because I think offensively they're dangerous enough to get it done. This feels like maybe the slipperiest of all the 7-10s. Dennis Gates has done a wonderful job, and I will go Mizzou.
All right, let's wrap up the South here, guys. Arizona 13-point favorites against Princeton. And when Hakeem Dermish says we're going to give you things you don't get anywhere else, we just got off the phone with Princeton in their celebration right now. Anything to take away from that conversation that informs your play on the 13th?
We got a chance to FaceTime my neighbor, Cade Pierce, right? I mentored him. I'm pretty proud. Like a proud papa.
Yeah, double today.
Yeah, and he's been a beast. He asked me what I said about Arizona. I said, you're in trouble. I said, you're in big trouble. But what did I say about this game? Single digits, I liked Arizona. Double digits, I like Princeton. Mm-hmm. Princeton has blown like 5 leads this year. I've watched every single game. They're the antithesis. I think that's how you say it, Matt.
There's a TH in there somewhere.
Somewhere, exactly. They're smart and take care of the ball. Arizona is just really long and athletic and much more physical. Tosan Naroma is a Giannis-like player for Princeton. He's their center. He also led the Ivy League in assist. So they're going to spread you out. How is Princeton going to be competitive in this game? There it is, the three-point shot. They're going to have to make 10-plus threes because every time you get in that lane, it's an absolute disaster against Arizona. With Bala and Tabelas, like there's so much size there. Too many points. I like the dogs. Go Tigers.
Yeah, I like Arizona to win this one. And probably I feel with this kind of matchup, Princeton's a solid Ivy League team, and it rates top 125 in the country. But Arizona is, I mean, Azulis Tabelas and Umar Ballo are bigs. They play 2 bigs at the same time, and they get up and down the floor. They push the pace. Arizona, they are – Mitch Henderson, the Princeton head coach, is going to have to scheme something really beautiful, and he's capable of doing it. But sometimes we get these 2-15 stinkers, you know. Mm-hmm. This one feels like it. I'm not getting St. Peter's vibes off this one.
No St. Peter's vibes. A peacock will not spread its wings. That is 1 region down. We have 3 more to go. We're taking it to the Midwest net. To the Midwest, Joe Musso alongside Tim Doyle, Matt Norlander, Hakeem Dermish. One will fill your bracket, the other will fill your pockets, and that's where we go first. Northern Kentucky and Houston. The 1 versus 16 is where we start. Houston, 21-point favorites. Tim Doyle. It's a whole lot of daggum points.
I'm going to take the dog in this spot. How could you possibly watch Houston? Who knows what Marcus Sasser is going to bring to the table? He averages 17 points a game. He did not play in the American League final, the American Conference final. They got whacked. I know they made a run, but they really got dominated start to finish by Memphis. I think this game should be 13.5. 12. Should they be favored? Absolutely. Are they going to win? Absolutely. Their defense is great, but this is way, way too many points. Northern Kentucky's got heritage. They've been here before. I'm going to take the dog here.
This is Houston. We don't need to make this complicated.
Okay.
Best team in the sport, according to every mainstream predictive metric. Cougars move along.
All right, let's not make the next one complicated either. 8-9, because I'm not picking Iowa because they messed up my 21-leg parlay.
That is the road to destruction. I'm just letting you know.
Personal vendetta.
You know why? Here, look, Auburn has won 10 straight opening round games, make it 11, move on the Tigers to play on the Cougars. Okay? Right? You're taking Auburn, you're taking Iowa.
I got to take Iowa. Auburn's been Auburn has some.
I can't stand Iowa.
Iowa at least has some real offensive firepower.
No, seriously,
it's going to have the best player on the floor, Chris Murray.
Yeah.
It's got the better collection of wins.
I love the state of Iowa. I just didn't like that loss.
Auburn's a 9 in name only, my friend. This is Iowa the whole way. Fran McCaffrey stared down a referee, and things have never been the same since. I will go with the Hawkeyes here. I love the bracket every year, but of the 8-9s that are out there, this is my least favorite overall.
I actually bought Iowa gear. I bought Iowa gear for Chris Hassel to tell you that I like Iowa. I don't like them here, Tim. Do you?
I think this is a coin flip game. And
yeah, look at the line. It's -1.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to pick Iowa because Iowa is my favorite state.
I know it is.
Because they care about 2 things.
Yep.
Beer.
And sports.
Thank you very much.
I love that line. That's great. It's
great.
It's a great state.
2 years ago, I picked this team to win a national championship. They had Luka Garza, and they had the older Murray, who's now on the Kings. And now they have his brother.
Yep.
So 2 years ago, I thought they had like a real deal team.
Mm-hmm.
This team, there's still McCaffrey's running around. I don't think Fran's reproducing anymore, but he's still got sons on the team. They can score, but they lack physicality. One thing is a fact. This is where Bruce Pearl thrives. Like every year, like they win games. So I trust Bruce in this spot.
Do you trust the roster? I mean, that's the thing. Are we going to trust a coach? Because Bruce versus Fran, that's a pretty even coaching matchup. I trust the Iowa roster just way more, and they're better offensively. Like it's not even arguable.
Where was the offense against Ohio State?
Well, you know,
here's how I'm actually going to pick the game. I'm not going to bet this game. I'm going to root for Iowa, so I'm going to move them along, but I don't have that strong of an opinion.
Hakeem is Fran McCaffreying to Iowa as a whole right now, just staring them down on the baseline.
It's all. He's
got to see something.
I've gotten over it because that's happened to me so many times, and best of luck to Iowa in this game. I like the trend as your friend. Auburn's won 10 straight opening round games.
He's over it. We're over it as well. Moving on here to Miami and Drake. It is a 5-12. It's one that always catches our eye, and the number should catch our eye here as well. Miami laying 2.5, 0-4 ATS their last 4 times out. But let's go straight up first here, Matt.
Okay.
5-12. Is this the one where you want to go 12?
Guys, unbelievable right now. Okay.
Do it.
Great guard play for Miami.
I can't do it. I want to listen. I want to pick Drake. Here's the
Valley,
deal,
Matt. It's the Valley. They always win in the first round. You know what I
want to do it. Listen to me. Listen. I want to pick Drake. Miami has been a team that has proven that it can play with among the best teams in the country for most of the season. No, it's not a top 10 team in America. Did win the ACC, got the 1 seed. I don't think that Drake has the athletes to compete with Jordan Miller and Isaiah Wong and Nigel Pack. And we'll see if Norchad Omier is good to go. He got hurt in the ACC tournament. This is a pure getting off the bus play. Jim Larinaga is good in the tournament. I love Drake. This is a brutal draw, and Darren DeVries, the head coach of Drake, he knows it. They can give him a game. Drake's got a really good shot. I just don't like the matchup here. I gotta go Miami.
I tend to agree. Yeah, I looked at Miami because of guys like Wong, experience. They had a great run last year. I understand what you're saying, but the Missouri Valley Conference, the last 10 years, they won a game in the dance, like 8 or 9 of them. I can't remember the exact stat, but I cover the Valley, and that was something that the conference always promotes. Some years the Valley should be 2-bid league. Don't love the Drake, like the Drake, need the Drake.
Yes.
Love the Drake here.
The Drake, huh?
Tucker DeVries, if you have not seen him play, take Luka Doncic, take Dirk Nowitzki, combine them, and then put them in college in the middle of Iowa.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah, he just moves like in the same way. He's tall. His dad's the coach. Drake plays physical defense. By the way, Drake, their average age is older than the Oklahoma City Thunder's starting 5 older age, average age. So they have experience. They have culture. They have a star. Need the Drake. Love the Drake.
They have children.
I'm taking the Drake.
Jim Larinaga. Don't discount Jim Larinaga in March.
That's right.
That's what I would say. Potential dark horse.
Good game.
Speaking of a potential dark horse, here we go. I would blindly put this team into the second round. Kent State, the Golden Flashes, the Fighting Rob Senderoffs, facing Indiana. We have a researcher named Max. He went to Indiana. I know he likes Indiana. I like Kent State, plus the points. Kent State on the money line. By the way, Kent State, 3-0 ATS in quad 1 games this season. At Houston, at Gonzaga, at College of Charleston, who's in, obviously. So give me Kent State, right? You're riding on the bandwagon with Rob Senderoff?
It's Kent State, 3 losses.
Yes.
At Gonzaga, at Charleston. Am I doing this?
Do it.
Am I doing it?
Do it. There we go.
Here we go.
Heavy line
Kent State. Hammer Kent State. Money line.
Clip it for me.
Rob Senderoff. What have I done? Rob Senderoff has a great team. Sincere Carey, one of the top 10 to 15 point guards in the entire country, not just in this bracket here. Now, Indiana's really good. You know the upset. Here's the thing. Indiana fans, if you're watching, if you're seeing this clip on social media and you're goosing up, Mike Woodson, if this has found its way to you before tip-off, there are going to be upsets. This one just seems like it could very well happen because we have seen Kent State play power conference teams close. I remember talking to Mark Few, who had to play this Kent State team and raving about their ability, basically called them a power conference team this season because they have such good guard play and because they've been so consistent. I'll pick this one. Indiana has been good, and I love Trace Jackson Davis's game. He's the second in line for National Player of the Year as far as I'm concerned. Jalen Hood-Schifino, clearly a first-team, all-freshman kind of guy, but IU's gotten picked off here and there, and you never know. So we got to have a little bit of chaos. Golden flashes. Plus, Rob Senderoff, huge Pearl Jam fan. I got to ride with him.
It's got to factor in.
It's a factor. What do you want me to say?
If you really want to dive into, because Rob Senderoff and I are buddies, we like to play the ponies together. I watched every one of their games this year. I just want to give you something. College of Charleston ran an illegal flare, banged a 3 at the buzzer. That's how they beat Kent State. Mm-hmm. Kent State at Gonzaga, true road game, up 3, 3 minutes left. True road game at Houston, up 1, 1 minute left. And last year, the MAC, their representative was Akron. Do you guys remember that game? They played UCLA.
I do.
Yep.
And by the way, if UCLA doesn't run into Caleb Love, they might have won a national championship last year. They just ran into Caleb Love, and he made every single shot in UNC. So, like, the MAC and the Valley, and I happen to call those conferences. I know them well. I think if Akron would have gotten in, I think if Toledo would have gotten in, both of those teams would have been a problem. This is a perfect matchup because Hood-Schifino's a freshman. Sincere Carey is a fifth-year guy.
Yeah.
This is a bad matchup for Indiana. This is my absolute hammer play. Kent State, take them on the money line. This is like too good to be. Bet it now. What are you getting? 4.5? But it's going to go to 1.5 before.
All right. Passionate are the voices on the 13 line there with Kent State. Let's go to a first 4 matchup here. Mississippi State and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh being the most profitable side in Division I hoops this year, cashing tickets at a 70% rate, and here they are getting 2 points. Tim Doyle, do we stay with that trend? Do we stay on that number?
I like Pittsburgh in this spot. I think they play really good defense. I saw them live against Northwestern. They embarrassed them. Northwestern was not embarrassed much this year, and they were embarrassed by Pittsburgh. They've come out of nowhere. I think they have an identity. I think they're physical, and you're getting me points. I'm going to take the dog.
I'm going to go – okay, so I think for this specific matchup, I'm going to take Mississippi State to win only because it's a headache to face. But this game has a ton of variance to it. I will go Mississippi State to advance in this first 4 matchup. Chris Jansen's done a really good job in year 1, and Jeff Capel entered the season on the hot seat, gets into the tournament. Pitt fans have waited more than a half decade to finally get there. It's an intriguing matchup, and for Pitt just to see him back in the tournament, that's a good thing. I will ride with the Bulldogs, but I'm not overly confident in it.
All right, Xavier, one of 5 teams from the Big East in the Big Dance. They're going to match up against Kennesaw State, making their first NCAA tournament appearance out of the Atlantic Sun. Xavier is a 13-point favorite, Tim. Do you want to lay 13 points with the Musketeers?
You know, they got a big-time coach there. Sean Miller's had success in the tournament. He's brought a different energy there. Jack Nungy's another guy who's been in college since the Obama administration. He's a stalwart down low. I think Xavier's going to win. I would not lay 13 in this game. I would lay 6 or throw them in a money line parlay situation. The Big East, that was an exciting tournament. There was an energy there back at the Garden.
Awesome.
But they were life and death to beat DePaul. And if you saw DePaul live this year, I did. I live in Chicago. They're not very impressive live. They had a tough time winning games. So I do think Xavier's going to win, but I'm going to take the dog in this spot.
Kennesaw State played VCU to a 3-point finish, played at Florida to a 10-point finish. It got blown out by San Diego State early this year. I think it can put up a decent game, but this is Xavier. I think Xavier, well, I don't think I know. I talked to Sean Miller after the Big East final on Saturday night when they lost, and Sean Miller was bracing for a 4 seed. He was thrilled about it. He's got the program at least a year ahead of pace. But to get the 3 line, It's a big time get here for Xavier. I like him to beat Kennesaw State. If you look at what Kennesaw State does, it doesn't have the offensive firepower. Xavier is a machine and can really get going. In fact, what Marquette did to Xavier is aberrational. So I do like X to win this one and win it comfortably.
All right, guys, for the first time in 12 years, we get to say the Nittany Lions are dancing. Penn State, a 10 seed, taking on Texas A&M. A&M a 3.5-point favorite here, but Matt, I think it's fair to say Penn State is coming off a week in which they played their best basketball of the season. Does that make you look at them as a live side against Texas A&M?
It does. So this will be a 10/7 that I take. And no, listen, for the purposes of what Timmy Doyle is about to tell you, that's where the upset is. A 10/7 on his face, that's not an upset when we talk about our brackets. So this is just a good win that I'm going to pencil in for Penn State. Have the best player on the floor. All due respect to Wade Taylor IV, he's been great. Jalen Pickett has been a top 10 player in the country this season. Micah Shrewsbury. Oh, by the way, as we talk about these games, there are other storylines that will take place. Micah Shrewsbury's name is very hot right now. There are vacancies at Notre Dame and Georgetown. I'll tell you this, I can guarantee, no matter what happens here, I have a guarantee. You ready? Micah Shrewsbury's about to make a lot more money in the next few weeks, okay? Because either he's going to get an incredible new deal from Penn State or he'll wind up coaching at an even bigger job. I will take the Nittany Lions to beat Texas A&M. That number is a little bit surprising to me. Tim, what do you think?
Yeah, I think for A&M it's pretty simple. They're going to have to make threes. And their win over Vandy in the SEC Conference Tournament game, they were 10 of 19 from three. In their losses, they didn't make any threes. I mean, they really struggled to even make a three. They 1 of 10 versus Arkansas, and then Alabama just completely wiped them out. They shot sub 30% in that game. Jalen Pickett, Grant Hill called his game unorthodox. I call it old school. He backs you down. He's a great passer. In his win over Indiana, 28 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. He has an amazing feel, and his feel for the game is the difference here. I'm not sure they're going to win, but if you're going to give me points, one thing Penn State does, check out their wins lately, who they've beaten. Northwestern by a 1-possession game. Illinois 1-possession game. Maryland 1-possession game. Purdue 1-possession game. So you're going to give me more than 1 possession? I'm going to take 3.5 points. Thank you very much.
All right, let's take a look at the 15-2. Colgate representing the Patriot for the 4th year in a row. They lost to Wisconsin in the first round as a 14 seed last year, a 15 seed this year, facing Texas, who could arguably have been a 1 seed. We know what happened last season, right? St. Peter's knocked out Kentucky. They knocked out a slew of teams all the way to the Elite Eight. Is Colgate giving you any of these St. Peter's vibes, or is Texas just too big of a monster?
Colgate makes 40.9% of its three-point shots. That's best in the sport. Best effective field goal percentage. Matt Langle. Talk about a guy who's going to get a bigger job, or at least he should. Colgate's been in the tournament, every tournament for the past 5 tournaments here, so it's no surprise to see him back. 15 seed's a fair seed. This is a really tough matchup. The only better matchup for Colgate in terms of entertainment value is if we got Marquette Colgate. That would have been outrageous. But they get Texas here. Texas has quite clearly, it is a bigger team. It's got more athletes. How Colgate matches up with, say, Dylan Mitchell, I'm fascinated to see how that goes down. Marcus Carr can hit big shots as well. I do not have the intestinal fortitude to pick Colgate and as this 15/2, but
they have a shot.
They absolutely.
You're saying there's a chance?
I'm saying there's a chance. They got a shot, but I'll go Texas.
I agree. Think about if you're Texas. You just beat who to win the Big 12?
Kansas.
Yeah. Colgate? Wait, we just beat Kansas, and now you're in the locker room. You're like, trust me, there isn't one player on the Longhorns that has any idea what state Colgate is in. No clue.
Do you?
I happen to know it's in Hamilton, New York.
That's correct.
Okay. But you just beat Kansas, and now you're like, wait, we got to go play Colgate? Yeah, Matt Langle is the best coach you've never heard of. He's got 5 guys that average double figures. Matt talked about the shooting, but do you know what they play? Old school. Move the basketball. Spread you out. For them to beat Texas, how many threes do they have to make? I don't know, 13?
I was going to say I might be 15.
Yeah, but you know what they've done? They've seen this before. Like, this isn't going to be a new journey. When they played games like Wisconsin or Arkansas, they had these big leads, and then they kind of fell apart. They could score, certainly. I'm going to bet them in this spot because I think Texas is going to go out and like, wait, we're playing Colgate? Now, they may be able to flip a switch, and I expect them to flip a switch and win this game. But all of these points, I'll take those dogs.
All right.
That was the thought last season. And guess what? They won the national championship. Perhaps another considerably easy path to the Final Four. They're not the overall number 1 seed, but they are a number 1 seed in the West, where they would have to go through Las Vegas to get to Houston. But first, they got to get through Howard out of the MEAC. 22-point favorite, Tim, is Kansas. They will have Bill Self back on the sideline. They have a team that, in your opinion, maybe can't run it back, but are you going to lay 22 points with Kansas in this situation? You're taking the points with Howard.
I think the only way you can bet this game is you bet Kansas, so you don't bet the game. 2 NBA wings and Jalen Wilson, Grady Dick. I don't think they can run it back and win a national championship because I think their guard play is just average at best if you want to get to that top level. I think there are at least 5, maybe even 8 teams that have better guards than Kansas's guards. But I think this game, you want to lay the points. I think it's the only way you can bet it.
I'm picking the bracket here. Obviously, this is going to be Kansas. I'll just speak real quick. To see Howard in the tournament is wonderful. Kenny Blakeney has done an amazing job in just 4 years, and to get the Bisons into the field is pretty awesome. We love to see that, but this is obviously a matchup Kansas should win. And Bill Self will be with the team. The school announced that on Sunday, so Bill Self has returned to Lawrence, and he will regroup and get ready to coach the Jayhawks as they try and repeat as national champions. If they do so, Florida 06-07 was the last time we saw that.
Will likely be Kansas. Will take on the winner of Arkansas, Illinois in that 8-9 matchup. 3rd straight year the Illini in the tournament, but sort of limping in this season. Coach Muss's squad here laying 2.5 TD. Vegas expects a close one. What are your expectations between these two?
Muss sort of has this Bruce Pearl feel where, like, this time of year, right, his teams are always starting to turn the corner. I'm a Big Ten guy, but, man, I've watched Illinois go up and down. I've seen Illinois look amazing and terrible all within 10-minute stretches of a 40-minute game multiple different times. So I'm going to go with Arkansas here. I trust their defense. They do not even come close to the same talent that they had last year. But Illinois is just way too erratic. Give me the Razorbacks.
At bartorvik.com, you can sort the data, and by that I mean you can go back and literally pick any date on the calendar and say, okay, since this date till this date or this date till now, how has this team looked across college basketball? You ready for this with Illinois? Illinois is the 86th best team in the past month in the sport. 86, and that's efficiency. That accounts for offensive and defensive efficiency. Arkansas, it's got the best player on the floor, at least the best NBA future player on the floor, and Nick Smith Jr. And you've got Ricky Council, who's been terrific. This game can be very unpredictable. Of all the 8-9s, this feels like the firecracker. Both of these coaches have weathered the storms with their teams for very different reasons. I find Arkansas to be maybe mildly more dependable, and I mean mildly. 2 really, really good coaches. I'm going to take Arkansas in this matchup, but this feels as much of a coin flip, fellas. To me, of all the 8-9s, this is it. This is the coin flip. Toss it in the air, accept what you pick, and if it goes wrong, so be it.
An at-large special. There you go. Throw it up in the air.
Yes.
The 12-5 game. This is my 12-5 upset. This
Okay.
is it. This is VCU over the 5 in St. Mary's. This is it. And here's the other reason why. VCU is 3-0 straight up in their past 3 games as an underdog. So I'm going to take VCU in this spot, the 12-5 matchup. This is the 112 that wins. Matt, do you agree that VCU beats St. Mary's in the 12-5 matchup?
Reference Bart Torvik one more time.
Okay.
It's like another Ken Palm. VCU in the past month, 20th best team in college basketball in offensive and defensive efficiency. This matchup is going to be all about defense. Aiden Mahaney is your name to know for St. Mary's. He's a freshman. He's a bit of a revelation. Him and Logan Johnson. What's interesting is this game will probably be low scoring, and yet there's a lot of fun dudes on the floor in this one. Between Logan Johnson, Aiden Mahaney, they can get it done for St. Mary's in the backcourt. And then Ace Baldwin, you saw what he was able to do in that A-10 tournament for VCU. He's outstanding. He's the leader in points, assists, steals, the best defensive player in the A-10 this season. I'm going to go with St. Mary's, but it will be close, and this is one of those 12-5s where it'll be a popular pick. VCU, we know the history of VCU in this tournament. Mike Rhodes, you want to talk about a really, really underrated coach? I mean, really underrated. Mike Rhodes would be near the top of that list. VCU can certainly get the win, but I'm going to go back to what Mark Hughes told me, and that is that this St. Mary's team because he's had to play him 3 times, scouted them. He says this is as tough of a team at St. Mary's as he's seen over the past 15 years. That's really saying something. I will go Gales narrowly.
I'm going to take VCU in this game plus the points. They showed me something against Dayton in the A10 title game. Lose that game, you're out.
Correct.
The A10 was a one-bid league, and they were down 11 in the second half against Dayton. In eyeball test, Dayton was dominating down low, and VCU flipped the switch. They outscored the Flyers 38-15. I think that defensive pressure is going to be really tough for St. Mary's to simulate over the next couple of days. I think VCU's playing their best basketball. I think there's an amazing swagger. They never looked rattled in that game. And you're going to give me 4 points? I think Matt's even indicating he expects this to be a one-possession game. I'm going to take the dog.
All right, next up, guys, we got UConn and Iona. UConn on a 4 line. That is their highest seed since 2011 when they won the national title. They're laying 9.5 here against Iona. The name Patino sort of echoes through this month with a wry smile on your face. How do you like this one, Matt Norlander?
And I'll be there in Albany for the St. Mary's VCU game and this UConn-Iona game. I will go UConn. I think that the Rick Pitino, will he, won't he go to St. John's speculation will begin in earnest a couple minutes after this one ends on Friday and Saturday overall. UConn's just got too much talent, too much size. But one urgent plot point in this, Dan Hurley 0-2 in the NCAA tournament since he got to UConn. And now, I know Dan Hurley. When he saw Rick Pitino's Iona team flash across the screen on CBS on Sunday night, I know what he said, and I can't say it over our air.
He said Dorothy Mantooth is a saint.
I know what he said, and it was not that. Give me UConn to beat Iona.
They could do a nice fish dinner.
I've seen Iona play live. They have actually real deal big time guards.
I agree.
In Jenkins and Clayton. Now, it'll be interesting to see if these guys end up sticking around. But they're here now, and they have a legit big. Now, is it a Sonogo-like big? No, but Nelly Jr. Joseph is a fantastic name, and he is physical. He's a junior. He's been around the block. Iona, amazingly enough, has made the tournament a zillion times. They've never won a game. And who has the assist record there in one game at Iona? My older brother, Dan. Shout out to him. Yeah, 17 assists in the game. Now, the stat guy was kind of like his drinking buddy. So, like, he threw it to the guy. The guy did, like, 17 moves and scored. I was like, I don't know if that's really an assist, but he does have the most assists ever in a game at 17. Big Iona fan. I do think that the spread is the difference. 9.5 points, a lot of points.
Okay. Let's move down the bracket here. This is the play-in game. One of the first 4. You got your 11s, Arizona State and Nevada. Arizona State, a 1.5-point favorite. Nevada, the last Mountain West team to win a tournament game from that conference. Give me Nevada. Give me Nevada.
You know, I think I'm going to take Nevada as well. It rates better in predictive metrics, and I'm glad Nevada got in. It's deserving of it. Arizona State's in this tournament because it hit a 60-footer at the buzzer at Arizona. That's why Arizona State's in. It's deserving of being in. Both Hurley brothers are not only in, they're in the same bracket, albeit on opposite sides here. Bobby Hurley's future at Arizona State is also another lingering question. Will he continue there at Arizona State, or might he find a new spot? So keep that in mind there. Compelling first 4 matchup. Mountain West. This is an opportunity for the Mountain West to pick off a victory here. I'll go Nevada narrowly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when Nevada puts it all together, they shoot it well from deep. Jarrett Lucas is a guy that could certainly fill it up. He gets you 17 points a game. I don't think Nevada on their best day could beat Arizona, and I know it was a miracle shot, but Arizona State beat Arizona, so I'm going to go with Arizona State in this game. I've seen Nevada. I've watched them a lot. They're good. I didn't think they deserved the eyeball test to make the tournament. I don't think they win this game.
All right, let's dive into this 3-14 Gonzaga and Grand Canyon. The Zags laying 16.5 in this spot, and interestingly enough, they have not covered an NCAA game in their last 5 tries. 0-5 ATS when laying big numbers or small. That includes all 3 games last season. 16.5 is a whole lot of wood to lay, Tim Doyle. Does that past trend inform your play in this one at all?
Gonzaga, Joe, is the Cowboys, the Yankees, they're the Golden State Warriors.
You pay the price.
Duke, you pay a premium to bet Gonzaga, because there's like a little bit of comfort there, right? You know, Drew Timme still going to be on the floor for Gonzaga. Offensive metrics have been amazing. Matt, they played the underdog role in the WCC conference tournament. They go, we were underdogs. Actually, you were favorite in the game over St. Mary's, but whatever the storyline was going to be, this team is not a real threat in my eyes to win a national championship. That does not mean they can't go to a Final Four, But I'm going to take the dog here, and I'm going to take Grand Canyon.
I'm going to take Gonzaga. It's got the best offense in the country yet again. Drew Timme's having the best season of his career. If you have not read my Drew Timme feature, a deep dive on the one and only Drew Timme, please do so. Gonzaga should win this, and I don't think it will get too much of a push here. But we talked about brothers, Dan and Bobby. Also got the Drews. Scott, obviously, and then Bryce, head coach at Grand Canyon.
All right, this is a tough one. I don't know what to pick here. Boise State, Northwestern. Fill out my bracket for me.
In a game that will probably be pretty physical, Leon Rice is a really, really good coach. Northwestern, as you well know, has a guy named Chase Audige. And hearing from Big Ten coaches, the best defensive player in that conference plays for Northwestern, and his name is Chase Audige. Plus, Boo Buie, never afraid to have the ball in his hands late. Boise State has had a flair for the dramatic. I think this is the quietest, really, really good matchup in the entire bracket. It's not going to generate a lot of buzz because Northwestern will get buzz. It's only the second time they've been to the tournament. Chris Collins has assured himself a continued career there after entering the season on the hot seat. But Boise State, back-to-back tournaments for only the second time in school history, but they don't have a lot of star power, right? That being said, I think this one has a really, really good shot at being pretty close. I will ride with Northwestern in this spot because I'm going to trust the defense to show up. And because Northwestern has proven it more consistently across its schedule, Boise State's been good. But this is one of those where I look at it, Tim, and I say, one's the 7 and one's the 10 for a reason. And although it can go the other way, give me the Wildcats.
Hats off to Max Rice, the coach's son, Leon Rice's son. He went through a stretch last year where he went 1 of 30 from 3. And he has completely turned it around. People say, why are you even on the team? And he's had some monster efforts, scored 16 straight points in Boise State's dramatic win over San Diego State. That was probably good enough in order to get them into the tournament. But what Northwestern is able to do is to wipe you out defensively. Yes, they have a tough time scoring sometimes in the half court, but they are outstanding on the defensive end. They added in Chris Lowry, the old Southern Illinois coach, and that changed their defensive structure. They have experienced guards who actually, both those guys, Boo Buie and Chase Audige, can come back next year. You know what that's going to mean? It's going to dip into my NIL fund that we're going to have to pay these guys in order to stay at Northwestern. I never thought we would see the day. This game is going to be first one to 57 points. I don't think either team gets there. 55-51 Northwestern.
The big booster, Tim Doyle. Let's take a look at this last game, round out this region. Big South champs UNC Asheville taking on UCLA. UCLA an 18-point favorite here. UNC Asheville 9 straight wins, but UCLA coming off that loss. Hell hath no fury, like a Mick Cronin scorn. Matt Norlander, I'll make it easy for you here. 18 points. There's no way you're not saying UCLA. Tim Doyle, those 18 points do make things interesting when we're talking that conversation.
Yeah, I like the dog here. I didn't love what I saw from UCLA. Now, Arizona's long, they're athletic. That's not UNC Asheville. But UCLA's banged up. You remember last year in the tournament? UCLA, I mean, life and death to beat Akron. So should UCLA be favorite? Yes. I have this game more like 8.5, 9. 18 points I think is absolutely out of this world. I'm going to take the dog.
2 points on this. UCLA is the #1 defense in the country per possession, but UNC Asheville has a high major player in Drew Pember and is 6th in the nation in three-point accuracy. I'm going to take UCLA. This is a 15/2 that people are going to overlook that I actually think is on the table. That's all.
Give me UCLA. UCLA might be back in the Final Four.
Of course.
Okay. Let's go.
Also might lose to UNC.
That's Hakeem Dermish going through all the brackets he's already filled out. That's what you're seeing.
And none of them have Iowa advancing. Just
this next region, it's the toughest region in the bracket for Purdue. The East has blue bloods aplenty. How do you break this down? We're going to do it next. Picks for your bracket, picks for your pocket. Joe, I like that. Well done.
You're
Coming
welcome.
Up next on CBS.
Rounding out our expert picks in the East, where Purdue sits on the 1 line, but a live 2 there in Marquette. Hakeem Dermish thinks that this is the toughest region on the bracket.
I do.
I've been getting some text messages from our sports line mind, Eric Casillas. I think he has some words for you.
Really?
We'll get there in just a moment, but we will start with a matchup of 16s, Fairleigh Dickinson and Texas Southern. Let's move through this one quickly because they will both be moved through quickly beyond this game. Texas Southern, a 2-point favorite, Matt Norlander. For the uninitiated amongst us, where do we go?
This is Purdue. I mean, well, between these two specifically, Texas Southern is one of the only 3 20-loss teams ever. Fairleigh Dickinson, this is a wild matchup. Fairleigh Dickinson did not win its auto bid. It didn't win its league tournament. Merrimack is not eligible, so it gets in. Texas Southern is a 20-loss team. Texas Southern is the only team with multiple wins in the first 4 in its history. But that being said, I'll take Fairleigh Dickinson in this one. It is an unusual matchup, and that's saying something for what we usually even get in the first 4.
Tobin Anderson, guy can coach his tail off. FDU is in the tournament. I get it. Texas Southern has been there before, but I like FDU here.
Let me just make sure I clarify my comments here. Where are we at? We're camera 2. This is going to be the toughest path for a 1 seed. Okay? This is it. Okay? For Purdue, waiting for Purdue is the winner of Memphis and FAU, Matt. That is tough.
It's so tough. Either of those teams. I'm going to take FAU in this game. FAU got disrespected by the committee. Just because FAU didn't get non-conference opportunity doesn't mean that it wasn't deserving of a higher seed. It's proven it time and time again. You look into the analytics on this team, they've been telling you for weeks and weeks this is a top 30 team in the sport. Memphis is really good. In fact, this is my favorite 8-9 on the board. I think that this could be a thriller. I will go with the Owls. Dusty May is legit, and I think that he moves past Memphis and the Tigers in an 8-9 game, by the way, for the 2nd straight year, but I got him going down.
Yeah, I mean, what a great way for Penny Hardaway's team to go into this tournament. Kendrick Davis is healthy. He was outstanding, and finally break through. They beat Houston. I'm going to go at Memphis here because they have the best player in the 4. Kendrick Davis averaging 22 points a game. Road Tigers.
All right. Adding even more intrigue to this region is the Duke Blue Devils sitting on a 5-line guy. 7-point favorites against Oral Roberts. It's a number we hate, TD. 7, you just want to see 7. Backdoor cover comes into play. You get pushed with that late 3. You get beat by that late 3. Does Duke end up getting hooked late in this one?
Everybody's going to be betting Duke in this game. Everyone's going to be advancing Duke. That's the reason I'm going to take Oral Roberts in the points. Everyone, you bought into the ACC Conference Championship, which has been the Duke Invitational ever since you and I were little boys. Like, they win every single year. Oral Roberts is for real. They're veterans. And I think you really have to take a deep dive into the ACC Conference and be like, all right, Miami, Virginia, Pitt, Stark, NC State. Like, do we just think these teams are good? I think we do. And I'm not really sure how much stock we could actually put into that conference. I'm going to take the dog here. Give me the points.
Oral Roberts, straight up, 12/5. All right? They've got the shooting to do it. They've done it before. This team is better than the one that made it to the Sweet 16 2 years ago and was just a long shot away. And by long, I mean not literally a long shot. Max Asmus from 3-point range to beat Arkansas in the Sweet 16 just shot it a little too long. This team's better. It's top 10 in 2-point percentage. It's top 10 in foul shooting. It's top 30 in 3-point accuracy. Oral Roberts has the coaching, the ability. It's one of the hottest teams in the country. Duke is playing very, very well, but this is a super fascinating matchup. I love this 12/5.
All right, let's take a look at the next matchup. Tennessee's involved. Rick Barnes is involved. Rick Barnes is you got to get deep in the tournament. This is what's got to happen. He's got to take care of business against Louisiana. Tennessee 4-8 ATS in their last 12 games, but this is a prove-it game for Tennessee to get this out of the way and move on. And look, I'm not saying that they're going to have a tough time with Louisiana. This is a game that they got to win.
Tennessee is rated top 7 at KenPom the entire season. Doesn't have his lead point guard. Rick Barnes is 25-25 in his career, all-time in the NCAA tournament. I will take the Vols to beat Louisiana. I don't think we'll have too much drama here. For me, the real question marks with Tennessee begin Saturday, Sunday, the 2nd round. I think that's where they get into trouble.
I would not lay 13 in this game. I do think Tennessee's going to end up winning. They have a lot of the things that's important as far as this year's tournament in my eyes, right? They have guards and Vescovi, Ziegler that have been there before. They have experience at that position. I would not lay points in this game. If I was playing it, I would play the dog, but this is a hard game.
And they don't have Zakai Ziegler. He's out for the rest of the season. So that's the problem where when you look at Tennessee, how far do you take them in your bracket? These star players like UCLA, Jalen Clark, Marcus Sasser, the questions about this. And you ask yourself, okay, with these They don't have these big-time players. How far is that going to take them? But we'll take Tennessee here in this game.
All right, it's Kentucky and Providence in that 6 versus 11 matchup. Kentucky, there were points this season where we had big question marks about their viability as a tournament team. They surged second half, and here they are laying 4.5 against Providence, who's been known for an upset or two come tourney time. Matt Norlander, where are you going in this one?
Look, Providence has got some distraction around it. Like, there's a lot of buzz. Is Georgetown pursuing Ed Cooley? Is Ed Cooley going to be the next, Georgetown coach? No one knows if that's the case, although I do have sources telling me that Georgetown is aggressively pursuing Ed Cooley to gauge his interest. So you've got that side of it. And then Kentucky, it's been noise all season long. I will go Kentucky to win this game. In fact, I think there's a decent chance that Kentucky, a year after getting knocked off by St. Peter's, you could see the Wildcats have some March redemption. John Calipari has done this in the past. He's had some teams that have underperformed a little bit and then picked up some wins and gone deep into the tournament. I think that's on the table here. Kentucky objectively rates as the better team than Providence. Providence getting 11 seed feels about right here. And you've got Bryce Hopkins, who was at Kentucky. He could have a big game, but overall, as long as you're telling me you're going to have Casey Wallace available, Oscar Tshiebwe is going to play well, and if Antonio Reeves shows up like he's been, I do like Kentucky to win this game with a little bit of comfort.
I like Kentucky as well. As long as it doesn't say Vanderbilt on the other team's jersey, that they've played exceptionally well down the stretch. We know what Oscar Tshiebwe is going to give you as far as 16 points and 14 rebounds. They're going to need other guys like Reeves and Toppin to step up. If this game was at Providence, I actually would pick Providence. But when they step out of the old, is it still a Dunkin' Donuts Center there?
It's now the AMP.
Oh,
yes.
Rest in peace. They're a different team away from the AMP. Oh, that's horrible.
Doesn't feel right.
All right, Kansas State out of the Big 12. Montana State out of the Big Sky. Kansas State an 8-point favorite, one of the best teams in the Big 12, sending 7 teams to the Big Dance. Do you lay 8 points with Kansas State? And Tim, I'll tell you that Kansas State is 7-0 ATS in their past 7 games as a favorite, but 8 points is a big number against Montana State.
Yeah, and they come into this tournament, right? Little momentum. They've lost 2 straight. They had a great season. Coach Tang up there has brought exceptional energy. He's rejuvenated that fan base. Almost Frank Martin-esque as far as what they are doing. They played in a super tough conference. Hard game for me to handicap. I would not lay points here. I do think that Kansas State ends up winning.
All right, guys, let's roll right through it. Love this next matchup. USC, Michigan State. Michigan State, a 2-point favorite. Maybe redemption is the storyline here for USC after an early exit last year as well. Matt, when you size these two up, 2 points between them could be a bucket either way?
It could be. Michigan State's a really good three-point shooting team, hitting 39.5% of its three-pointers this season. That's 4th best in the country. So Michigan State and Tom Izzo, you might not often think about this team as being one that can really launch away. And in fact, the ironic thing about Sparty is that for as good as it is from shooting from beyond the arc, it doesn't take a ton of three-pointers. I almost wonder if that will be a necessity here. Boogie Ellis on the opposite side for USC can really fill it up. A very fun player. I'm all about having a tournament with a dude named Boogie in it. I like this one, but I will take Sparty in the 7-10.
And that game's in Columbus, so I'm going to go Michigan State as well. They have a great fan base there.
All right, Marquette, Vermont. You know how I feel about Marquette, but I will tell you this. Shaka Smart has lost 6 straight round of 64 games. Oh. Does he snap the streak?
This is a bad matchup for Marquette.
Why?
Because Vermont's smart. They've been there before. They have an excellent coach. This is way too many points. I love the dog here. And I think Marquette, everyone saw what they did in the Big East tournament. So everyone's like, oh, should they be favorite in this game? Absolutely. I think they should be 5.5 or 6. 12 is nuts. And I'm not saying I'm not picking them to go far, but this is way too many points in this spot.
UVM just doesn't have the defense to keep up with Marquette. It could be a very entertaining game, but I have to take Marquette to move along here.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I have to have Marquette in my bracket. They're moving on, definitely. You know.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.